Welcome to Conspiracy Theories Forecaster.
World War III will come from space. America is bracing itself for war in space and has begun training U.S. Air Force personnel for science fiction-style cosmic conflicts, it has been revealed. Defense chiefs fear Russia and China are developing space weapons which would give them a potentially catastrophic edge over the U.S. in any future conflict. To counter this threat, the Air Force has launched a program called the Space Mission Force, which is dedicated to developing space warfighters for tomorrow. In a white paper, General John Hyten, commander of Air Force Space Command, wrote, "Despite world interest in avoiding militarization of space, potential adversaries have identified the use of space as an advantage for U.S. military forces, and are actively fielding systems to deny our use of space in a conflict. This is not without precedents. Through the centuries, nations formed armies, navies and air forces to defend the right to use the global commons of land, sea and air. Securing our right to use space is simply an extension of an age-old principle to guarantee use of global commons. Although a space war conjures up images of X-wing starfighters attacking the Death Star, this sort of conflict is a long way off. The U.S. Air Force's new strategy is aimed at protecting its freedom of action in space, which will primarily involve protecting satellites and other orbital facilities which are used in military reconnaissance and surveillance. Its training program will subject units to demanding training, focused on improving combat capability against ever-increasing threats and complex scenarios. General Hyten's white paper did not include concrete details of how the Air Force will actually fight threats in space or what these threats might be. It is known that China has the capability to destroy satellites, whilst Russia recently tested a warplane capable of flying to near space. Moscow is also rumored to be developing a nuclear-armed space bomber, although Russian defense officials have denied this suggestion. Our space forces must demonstrate their ability to react to a thinking adversary and operate as warfighters in this environment, Hyten added in the white paper. Our nation faces current and future challenges in space that demand an immediate change in how we organize, train, equip and employ our forces, he added. The Department of Defense has also set aside $6.6 billion to fund space protection schemes. Lieutenant General J. Raymond, the Air Force's Deputy Chief of Staff for Operations, recently said America was undergoing a renaissance fueled by the need to protect and defend these new capabilities and space capabilities that we have become so reliant on. Donald Trump has said he wants to improve the U.S. government's ability to wage war from space. He also added, "My administration will examine spending priorities and will make adjustments as necessary. However, as a businessman, I am mindful of the many benefits, inventions and scientific breakthroughs that would not have been possible without the space program, and that has to be thrown into the calculus, as well." Trump's wish to focus on military aspects of the space program may have sprung from revelations earlier last year that Chinese and Russia were developing space weapons. Adversaries and potential adversaries are developing, and in some cases demonstrating, disruptive and destructive counterspace capabilities. Furthermore, they are exploiting what they perceive as space vulnerabilities, threatening the vital, national, civil, scientific and economic benefits to the U.S. and the global community. Russia has taken another step towards creating a terrifying new space weapon that can travel at 5 times the speed of sound, reports suggest. Putin's scientists are developing a new hypersonic jet called the Pak-Da, which it is claimed will be able to drop nuclear warheads from space. With tensions between Russia and the West rising, it is said the new bomber will be capable of striking any target on the planet within 2 hours. According to the Strategic Missile Forces Academy, the engine will operate in 2 modes, using kerosene fuel for conventional flight and a methane-oxygen combination to power the craft into space. The craft shape also mimics the design of the U.S. stealth bomber, making it invisible to radar. Air Force chiefs have promised the engine for the cutting-edge weapon would be ready by 2020. and the state-run Fund for Prospective Research announced this week that considerable progress had been made in the development of the high-tech materials needed for the plane's body, Sputnik News reports. Flying at speeds of up to almost 4,000 miles per hour, the aircraft will need to be able to withstand extreme temperatures. A statement from the research fund said, materials must withstand temperatures of 1,500 Celsius and more for a prolonged period of time. Conventional materials, such as high-strength steel, melt at these temperatures. This is addressed by creating innovative composite materials based on carbon fibers. There has been considerable progress in this sphere. The statement also claimed that Russia was one of the world leaders in the development of the cutting-edge technology. The news will come as a worrying development for Western leaders, as relations with Russia continue to deteriorate and military posturing becomes more frequent. And there have even been suggestions that a nuclear war between Putin and the West is imminent.
Get the latest future-oriented news, and subscribe. Join the Conspiracy Theories Forecaster community.